10 reasons the iPhone is just better in 2020. So what are these reasons? Because I know a lot of people are going to be like, no way. Some people are going to be triggered by the fact that I'm saying this phone is just better. This is not a stab at Android or anything like that. This is simply reasons I think it's just better to use the iPhone in 2020, but I'm also going to be making one about Android as well. Number one is the efficiency. So what do I mean by this? Well, thinking about inefficiency as in something that tends to slow us down when using our devices day to day. And what are the benefits of this? Well, using an iPhone, I think you tend to be a little bit more productive in that you don't use a lot of time and energy thinking about how to, fix something on the phone or customize something on the phone or anything like that, or trying to figure something out. It just doesn't happen too often on the iOS experience. So you're able to just quickly focus on whatever you're focused on. You don't really have to think much about your phone. Now, the next one is that the software is not tied to any carrier. So whether you're using the latest iPhone 11 Pro Max, or you're using the latest iPhone 11, or you're using the iPhone 10 over here from a couple years back, you're not going to find carrier bloatware on here. You're not going to find nothing like that. But not just that, what I'm trying to say is that when you get your updates, it's not just about the simple fact, well, yeah, iPhones, they get updates, Nick, I know that already. It's that the carrier, doesn't have any ties to this. So Apple updates it, it gets updated. It doesn't matter which carrier you're on. Whereas with the Samsung device, for example, we have One UI 2 launching, but it's spread out. It depends on which carrier you're on, which region you're in, things like that. And there's no waiting game here. Now, the next one is quality control. So what do I mean by this? What I mean is that Apple has this locked down. So at number 3, I definitely had to put this here. I could see people thinking I'm reaching here for a reason, but I can tell you right now, I've bought many phones before, and not all of them come as pristine as the iPhone, in that I've had chips on phone, I've had scratches, I've gotten dead pixels, I've gotten burn-in screens. The quality control for iPhone is pretty pristine. I don't see a lot of issues with screen quality, with, chipping on the phones, with dead pixels. Now, this can happen. I have seen the dead pixel on iPhone before, but I'm just saying this type of stuff I just don't see often on the iPhone. They have their quality control locked down. So when you get an iPhone, you can expect quality, especially if you buy it new. Now, number 4 is performance. Generally, iOS is just a faster, smoother operating system to use, no matter if you're using the Face Unlock, which works very smooth, or you're just using the general, operating system. It's just a smoother overall experience than Android in my experience. Now, at the same time, don't get me wrong, the 120 hertz displays are coming to Android, definitely needed for the platform. But just think, if the iPhone is already almost as smooth as a 90 hertz display, on their current 60 hertz panel here with 120 hertz touch sensing, imagine with the ProMotion update to the iPhone, how smooth the device is going to be. So yeah, Android phones are catching up here. So yeah, definitely other phones are catching up here with the hardware, but I do think generally just the software is a smoother feel still at number 4. Definitely got to give it to iPhone here in 2020 for that. It's still one of the smoothest phones you can buy. At number 5 is a more secure and private operating system, just a feel to it. It just feels more private. And with that case where, we've heard about the case where Apple wouldn't allow the FBI to get into, the iPhone. I'm sure you've heard about that. If you haven't, I'll link an article down below. But essentially, Apple wouldn't allow the FBI to get into the iPhone. The encryption is so strong on these phones. In addition to that, we have something that just doesn't feel like it tracks you too much. Now, I know iPhone does have tracking abilities in it, and you do have to turn certain things off. There is personalized ads and stuff. You have to go into your privacy settings, and you got to scroll down to advertising right here, and you can limit your ad tracking here. But at the same time, it still has a more secure feel than an Android phone. Next up is the Apple App Store. Developers they just rather make Apple iPhone apps. It's just point blank. There's no other way to put it. Business is business, and they know that Apple iPhone users buy more apps than any other platform out there, and it keeps growing. So you're going to continue to see amazing apps be released and unleashed on the iPhone. I mean, as a developer, the tools that Apple's announcing every year at the WWDC conference just keeps getting better and better. And it's, there is a subscription fee to develop apps for the iPhone. The chances of people buying your apps in the App Store are probably higher than in the Play Store, as Android just is definitely a system where people know they can get APK, sideload things really easily, stuff like that. And business is business, and people are just more likely to pay on the iPhone. I'm not saying they're not going to pay on Android. People will pay for apps on Android as well, but it just seems like the App Store is the place to go for developers. And then if you buy iPhone in 2020, or you stick with Apple here, you're gonna have a great App Store experience for years to come. And while we're on the topic of App Store, gaming is amazing for the iPhone. There are just so many games, and really high quality games. And again, going back to developers wanting to develop their apps for iPhone, they're continuing to develop great games for iOS experience. Now, a lot of the major titles like Call of Duty, for example, PUBG, have also come over to Android, and they usually come to iPhone first, but still Android gets them now, the major titles. But still, there's more polished games for iPhone, and they actually run faster and smoother, I found, for the iOS experience. So if you're gonna do gaming for a device, you definitely wanna take a look at the Apple experience. I actually know someone who just bought an iPhone just because they wanted to play games, and they haven't been happier. They came from an S8 Plus. Next up, year after year, we have better video recording capabilities out of these iPhones. Now, this is basically the average consumer iPhone of 2019, the iPhone 11. While it isn't marketed as a pro camera, this thing can shoot pro grade video. All you need to do is put on Filmic Pro, tweak your video settings a little bit, and you're good to go. You can get cinematic footage out of an iPhone 11 for $700. Now go to the triple camera here, you add that telephoto, and you can really get creative here with the iPhone 11 Pro Max. So what is my point here? My point is this: the iPhone year over year just keeps beating Android phones when it comes to video quality, and that doesn't look like it's going to slow anytime soon. Yes, I do believe the S20s coming are going to be amazing at video, but I think Apple's going to one-up them again on the iPhone 12. And it's not just, the hardware of the camera. You can have a 140,000 megapixel camera on your phone. If you don't have the right applications to use that video footage or to edit that video footage, then what's the point? It's just like I got to take it to the computer. I could have just got a regular camera for that. So yeah, the video recording year over year, just beating Android every time, I feel like. One last thing about the video, a lot of people really rave about the iPhone because it can do 24 FPS. It's a cinematic standard for Hollywood films. So you do see, people who want to maybe make a movie probably going to pick up the iPhone if they're going to try mobile because it's got that 24 FPS option. So at number 9 is no bloatware for the iPhone. So you don't see any carrier apps, no Verizon bundles, no AT&T bundles, all that crap you see on the Android phones. I don't want that. I just disable that, but I can't really delete it on other phones. With the iPhone, Apple doesn't allow that on their phones, so it keeps all the iPhones consistent no matter which one you go with. That's a huge reason to pick iPhone, a clean experience. And at number 10 is just how simple the phone is to use. Now, I've used a ton of different operating systems in my lifetime. I've used BlackBerry OS, Windows OS. I've used flip phones, Symbian. I've used the original versions of Android, the older iPhones, which are still very simple to use even to this day, even though they're older, like iOS 6, things like that. I've used plenty of different types of Android, different skins, Pixel, Nexus, blue phones, TouchWiz, One UI 2.0. I mean, there's a ton of them. And there's no phone I get on that's quite like the iPhone in terms of just picking up and forgetting about it because you just know how to use it. It's just easy. You don't got to think. I know it's easy to point fingers at, how simple it is. You're not smart because you don't customize your phone, blah, blah, blah. Like, that is just petty. You know what I mean? Like, this phone right here, average working adult who's got a career, got something going on, they don't got time to be doing that. They just need to use their phone and get on with their day. And the iPhone provides that. And that's a reason why it continues to sell millions in Apples. It's predicted to go to 2 trillion in the next few years. So yeah, my point is this. The iPhone is so simple that sometimes it's boring. If you're the type of person who gets bored easily, wants the next latest thing, you can see why a lot of people flip-flop between Android and iPhone, because the iPhone is so good, it gets boring. And you'll probably see somebody in the comments mention that, or other videos of people saying that, yeah, I just got bored of my iPhone. Nothing wrong with it, just simply got bored. And that's actually a good thing, because the reason you're getting bored is because it's so darn good. There's nothing really to do on it. It just works, and you're just kind of bored. You want to try something new. Okay, that's it for me. That's 10 reasons the iPhone is just better in 2020. These are, to me, very strong reasons to pick the iPhone, but I know a lot of people would disagree. This video is basically a video that's set up for people to disagree, because I want to hear your different opinions about iPhone or Android, and which one you're gonna use. Again, this video was not really a stab at Android. It was really just, you know, emphasizing why it's a great idea to pick the iPhone in 2020. Are you gonna use iPhone this year? Are you switching back? Are you going there for the first time? Or are you sticking with another platform? More than likely it's Android. There's not many other operating systems out there. I'm talking like Linux phones with, you know, different types of software and things like that. So thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. I will catch you all in the next episode, and peace.